Hi everyone, today we're going to look at Ori and the Blind Forest, a game developed by Moon Studios, which is a team I find pretty interesting, mostly because it's a collaboration of developers across the world, as opposed to being an in-house team seated somewhere. And I always respect that kind of thing. I feel the need to point out that when I first saw this game at E3 last year, I kind of expected it to be like Child of Light, an extremely visual and narrative based experience with gameplay mechanics simply used to, aid the narrative and the visuals. Alright, let's look at the game itself then. If I had to describe the story of Ori and the Blind Forest without spoilers, I'd say Ori, who's a spirit of light, is separated from the spirit tree and lost in the forest during a storm. This is followed by a few tragic events which leave the land destroyed, and Ori must go around restoring the land back to its former self. So all in all, yeah, the story is good. There's an interesting take on narration with the voiceover character not speaking English and having some kind of gibberish language that has subtitles showing up on the screen. But all in all, this story is not memorable, at least not to me. It felt like it was just serviceable. The story takes a backseat to the visuals and the gameplay. But then again, not every story has to be memorable, so the story is good, it works for this game, and I guess that's what really matters at the end of the day, right? So, gameplay. Yeah, this is what this game is really about. Contrary to what you might think when you see this game, like using the box art or the trailers, this is what this game is actually about. This is a platforming game 101. Think about the days of Super Mario or Metroidvania. This game is kind of like that. It's all about quick reflexes, precise timing, fast thinking, and instant movement. You are punished for making the wrong movement in certain sections of the game. Ori himself is quick and nimble, very agile, but he's also ridiculously fragile, and he kind of relies on Sane, this ball of light that you kind of find earlier on in the game, to do most of the attacks for him. This game is about powers as well. You unlock a variety of powers at various points in the game, and you can then use an upgrading system to enhance these powers. The powers include a double jump, a fireball, a stomp ability, climbing, gliding, and later on in the game there's also a charge jump. Those abilities are there to help you progress further in the game and unlock new areas. If I had to give a tagline to this game, it would be more powers, more problems. That's because this game has certain difficulty spikes. You get to certain sections and the game becomes so difficult all of a sudden, and that can become very frustrating very fast. There are orbs that you can collect to upgrade your health and your energy levels. These energy levels are especially useful for saving. This game does not have autosave features. There are specific save sections, but the only ones you can truly rely on are the ones you create yourself. This game is beautiful. I almost feel like I can't talk about the graphics of this game and tell you exactly what's good about them because I feel like I'm not qualified. What I know is that the game is amazing. The art style is amazing, with a lot of lights and beautiful bright colors happening all around you. There is also various layers of details. Each area has foreground, middle ground, and background elements. You are normally in the middle ground, meaning you almost feel like there's various things happening in the background and foreground of any area that you're in. This game has an amazing score. I have to say, the first time I had the theme that plays on the main menu of the game, I was blown away. It's all wonderfully cinematic. It fits very well into the game, and the sounds within the game themselves, you know, your attacks, the sounds made by Ori and enemies, it's all very well done. That's pretty much all I have to say about the sound. So now here we are at pros and cons. There are quite a number of each for this game, so let's get into them. Alright, so let's start with the pros then. The graphics of the game are amazing, the story is good, the game is challenging, which is always welcome, the music is superb, the game has a stellar presentation of everything, and the game is of a decent length. I clocked in at about 9 hours, which is not what I normally expect from an indie game. You know, they tend to clock in at 4 hours or 5 at most. And now the cons. I'll start with the predictable AI patterns in the game. Many of the enemies in this game, if not all of them, use extremely predictable and very telegraphed abilities. This means that whenever I met a single enemy, they were not a challenge at all. It almost felt like they were just wasting my time. Enemies tend to only be a challenge if there's at least 2 of them, and this is because their patterns get mixed up, and then you have to kind of dodge 2 different patterns of enemies, and I don't know, this just felt clunky to me. Another thing is that due to the extremely dense design of the elements in the game, there are times when you can't exactly tell where a safe area is to land on the ground. There are many insta-deaths in the game that were caused by an area not being made very clear. At some point you can't tell exactly where the ground stops. Some places look like they're safe to land on, and then when you just land there, poof, instant death, and that can be pretty frustrating. And finally, the difficulty spikes. These come all of a sudden. You get to a section in the game and suddenly the game becomes ridiculously difficult, not because the enemies are employing any smarter tactics or anything. It's just that the game forces you to move along extremely fast through an area that you haven't seen, and punishes you every time you fail by making you repeat the entire section. You are not allowed to save during these sections, and every time you get into one of them, you're almost guaranteed to die multiple times. This is created because every time you get a bit further, you will most likely meet something you haven't seen before and were not prepared for, and then that will insta-kill you, and then you have to repeat the whole section again, and this time you know about that, so you'll be able to go a bit further, and then the next thing you meet will insta-kill you, forcing you to again repeat the entire section and get a little further and repeat the process again and again and again until you're finally done with the entire area. This was very frustrating. The last level of the game, I can't tell you how many times I had to repeat this level. I don't know if maybe I'm just not good enough, but I felt like this could have been solved if you were allowed to save during these sections. That's all that it would have taken. It would have been a lot less frustrating. This is what I believe is the biggest problem with the game. It is extremely brutal, and I have to say that if you're a casual gamer, you need to stay the hell away from this game. Do not give the game to children. This is a hardcore game. Regardless of what it looks like, it's a hardcore game. It's only for hardcore gamers and people that love platform games. So yeah, despite the fact that I did almost pull my hair out a few times playing this game, This game is really good for hardcore gamers and lovers of the platform genre. Ori and the Blind Forest is a must-have. Its graphics are amazing, its visuals are amazing, it's a stellar game. I feel like it's a game everybody should play, but it will frustrate casuals to no end. So yeah, my final verdict is play the game, and when it gets frustrating, yeah, good luck with that. Alright guys, thanks for watching my review, and see you next time.